Okay, moving on. So now that you have your poster done in Photoshop, you can go and work on your social media template. And since you saved your document both ways, one is a Photoshop document, one is a JPEG. The JPEG is the one that's all flattened that you can't alter. That one you're just going to upload to Schoology into your website when it's all done. But you're going to take the PSD file and you're going to drag the layers and work on your template. So it's not like you have to go and redo the whole entire thing. You're going to drag elements from Photoshop over into your template that I provided with you for your social media. So in order to do that, I'll just show you real quick here. Once again, if you want to see where the documentation is, I will show you real quick. So you would just go to the lecture page. Okay, I'm sorry, go to the classroom website and then go to marketing campaign. And just scroll down all the way to the bottom. Don't forget section resources. And here's your final presentation social media template. So when you click, it's real big, but you need to save it. Don't just drag it to your desktop. You can either control click or right click and do save image as. So you click save image as, and then you're just going to call it a social template. Okay, so once you have that saved, now I created a folder on my desktop for my program project called bullying. So I'm just going to save it in there for now. Okay, I already saved it earlier, but I'll just do it again. Okay, so here you go. Close this down again, and then we will take this poster here and take some of the elements that we have, and we're going to move it on over to the social media template. So I brought the template in, and here it is. And the first thing you want to do is you want to figure out what elements you're going to be dragging over. Okay. Now there's a couple different ways you can do this. Now, for example, I like this image here, and I want to make this fit into the phone template. So I have it here. So here's a cool thing. You take your selection tool and you click and drag where you want your images to go. Okay. And then you paste them in. But let's get started over here where we can go over and drag these elements where here's one. So let's say I want to take a square of this. So it's easy. I could go here and then make a square and go like that. And say, oh, that works pretty good. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to copy this. Okay. So I have it selected and I hit copy. And then I'm going to draw my next selection because now you're telling it where you want it to go. So then you would go to edit, paste, special, and then paste into. And then there's my advertisement. So you can obviously see it's too big, but if I hit Command T to transform it, I can sit there and ta-da, make that fit in there like that. Okay, and then there you go. I just started my advertisement. So now let's say we want to move on over to here. Okay, now I can paste it again, take that original advertisement, we'll resize it, I'll make it fit in here. There's another way you can do it, but you know it's a little difficult this way. See what I mean? You'd have to hold like shift down and transform and stretch it in there. It's you don't want to just kind of put it over top. You want to paste into. So like I said before, you know, here we go now because don't forget, now that we started dragging images over, we're creating layers, a layered document. So I'm going to go back to the background. Then I'm going to use this square here. I'm going to draw it again. And then I'm going to go make sure I'm on my background. I'm going to go edit, paste special, and you want to paste into again. And then I'll resize that. This is a very similar size, almost, it's actually the same exact size as the Instagram feed page here with the phone, but it's nice to show it by itself. So once you kind of get it where you want it, double click and you're good to go. Now you can get, you know, it's not super duper difficult to do. And then once again, you go back to your background, click and drag. And luckily, these image formats are all pretty much the same size. So I'm going to paste that one in. Whoops. I actually hit just regular paste, and that doesn't work. It just puts it out. So you got to do paste into. Okay, once again, shrink that down. And you can see it's starting to become an issue. You know, see, I keep cropping and cropping. Now my face is in there, but I can, sometimes you can get away with just enough of a little bit of a stretch there. There you go. Okay. So now, obviously, it's not going to work here. Okay. Now we have to contend with these funky shapes here. And like you know, we saw before on the social media template that I showed you, it had all the different sizes in pink, banner size, half banner, full banner. So now you have to start to think about, well, the pictures I took are not going to work. And then if you refer back to what I was saying before, is that you have to take more pictures than what you think you're going to need. So you really want to look at the template and say, okay, how is my theme going to work across the whole thing? So I'm going to draw this out. Now, I already went ahead and took another image that's going to fit that long, skinny format. Now, I already went ahead and cut the background out. So I have just this, okay? Now, I'm going to click on this guy and copy him, okay? Then I'm going to go back over to my social media template and then go edit. And then paste. Whoop, make sure I'm on the right one. Go back here, okay, one more time. Copy that. Here. And then go edit. Paste into. So there's this, you know, obviously gigantic image in here. So I'm going to shrink it down. And then here's me. So you can kind of start to see, you know, the ideas that you're trying to come up with. So I don't care if my head, you know, is cut a little bit, but this works. And then I can go back over to here and say, oh, I want to get my type. Okay. So let's go back to just my type. I'm going to grab that and hit copy and go here. And I'm going to paste it in. Okay. Sure I'm on that layer again. Let's try that one more time. You gotta be real careful when you're on your layers, okay? So I'm gonna take this layer, copy it. Go to my template here. And then here it is, okay? So, you know, it's not a big deal if you really kind of think it out. So I'll have, now look how cool that works, because I was lucky enough to be able to make this fit around. Now it's no big deal. I could just easily go in and, you know, move the type around if I wanted to go like this, and then really kind of drag this over a bit. Okay. So that's how your advertisement really works. And then obviously you can see there's no background in there, so we can draw a square like we did before. Go all the way back to the background, and then we can fit it. We could use the colors of Safe to Say, which is like this, trying to think of it, like a turquoise blue, and then the background would be, move that over, we can use our tool, and then I can actually use this really cool gradient tool and use the front and back of these two colors, and then click and drag my colors. So actually I want to go up. Here's the colors I chose. And I can click and drag and go that way. I can click and drag it short, click and drag it long, you know, like this. So you really want to kind of find that, you know, happy medium of where you want it to be. And you can easily look this up in Photoshop under the tutorials. But this works pretty good, you know. So we'll put that there. And then once again, you would go and do the same exact thing for here and here. Now this one is just a smaller version, obviously, so we can go back again, go back to our background, draw this area with our selection tool, our square tool. So we'll go back to me screaming again, make sure we're on that right layer, copy it, then we'll go edit, don't forget, paste into. So here's me again. Okay, it actually works, you know, a little bit better here. Okay, so I can fit more of me in there, and then I can actually just copy and paste that text Hit it right here and whoop, stretch it. So as you can see, I can take this text and actually just go, let's go back and say, and really it's just a matter of working that text in. You know, move things around. See what I mean? And you know, you get the idea where you're trying to fit this stuff in properly. And then once again, click, draw that area, go make sure you're on that background, and then we'll use that gradient tool again and go this way to just do a different direction, you know, and that works pretty good. And then last but not least, you would just do the same thing here. Draw that square again. So I'm basically showing you the same thing 6 times. But you know, learning by repetition has always been good for me. Now this image obviously is not going to work. And you know what? Let's take a look here. I still have some images left over from my folder here. Maybe there's some I want to use. Let's try this goofy one right here. We'll drag that over into Photoshop. Okay, so I'll copy this. Once again, we'll jump over to the social media template and I'll go edit. Move that over a little bit. Make sure we're on that background again. Drag that area. Actually, I have to go back one more time. Gets a little confusing even for me. You know what I mean? You want to make sure you have those right images that you have. So we'll go back here. Okay. And let's say we just grab half. Okay. It doesn't have to be the whole face, right? So we just try something from a different angle. And I'll copy that. And then go edit. Paste into it. So now there's me. Once again, resize. So that's kind of cool. And, you know, we can get rid of that green background. Don't forget, remember we learned previously with the magic wand tool. Just delete that background out. Go here, back to that background again. Drag that, whoopsie. So we're going to draw that area one more time. Okay. And then I'm going to use that tool. Okay. And then once again, you can go back to your poster. And you know what? Let me just go back here to my history. This is a great feature. Don't forget, you can always go back if you're worried, you know, and go back in time to where you were. And then obviously too big, resize that down a bit. Try it some more. Whoop, gonna do the whole thing, right? And then, you know, with a little bit more time and effort, you can really make this stuff fit. But that works really well. And then you can throw the Safe to Say logo in here too when you're done. And that's pretty much it. I know it looks a little complicated, but you just sit there, take your time, make sure you're on those proper layers, background. You know, when you paste things, you paste it into, okay? But obviously, there's plenty of tutorials on Photoshop, and you can always ask me.